Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode. Today we're going to be doing something I've been waiting for a while, and I'm super duper excited. We have a whole bunch of really great guests who are going to be talking about one piece of advice they wish they would have had when they were getting into the industry, whether that's producing music, just being a straight up musician, vocalist, rapper, entrepreneur, and photographer slash videographer. And you're going to be getting all of their information, which is going to be extremely valuable because I wish I would have had a bunch of the information that they told me at the beginning of my journey. Even just having their different perspectives on like similar-ish things has been really special, and I'm really thankful for every single one of them who participated. We're going to be going over that in just a quick sec here. But guys, thanks again. Let's get right to it, okay? Alrighty, first on the chopping block is going to be Jack Wilde. I'll put everyone's credentials and social media links in the bottom, and I'll also put some annotations up here so you guys can follow him. But without further ado, Jack Wilde.
Advice I would give to up-and-coming artists or just my younger self when I first started: music does not need to sound a certain way for people to listen to it. That's something I struggle with at the beginning a lot, is like thinking of like popular kids or my friends or people that are following me on Instagram and what kind of music they like, because I wanted to be cool in their eyes when I wish I started just making my own stuff from the get-go and just went with it, because I think things would be a lot different now. I wouldn't have to backtrack on my music a bit to find myself again if I would have just kept to myself the entire time. Yeah, any advice? I guess I would say don't overthink your music. Always have fun with it. Don't doubt yourself. Just keep it going. I think just trust your sound, trust yourself still. Never doubt it, because there's things I look back at now that I was like, no one ever listened to this is garbage. I would have listened to that song just if it was, it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But you can see the potential. That makes sense.
And next up is HAYDEN Gullings. Many of you guys know him for his videos and photography that he has all over the web, and his Instagram, HAYDEN Music Media, where he's taken pictures of amazing artists and done a lot of work with Connor Joannis, actually, with their company Social Sound. But I'll say less. HAYDEN Gullings.
So I saw this Instagram ad the other day, and it was an influencer trying to onboard people for like a one-on-one training, and he was describing how like all this is a game. And like I totally get that, because like it gets super addicting the more you get into this world of like photography, just creative and like creating for other people and yourself, always trying to generate new ideas. Like it just becomes a game that you start chasing. I think that's kind of where momentum comes in, having that drive, but it just starts snowballing, and the more momentum you can gain, the more you'll start making it feel like a game. Like it gets that addictive quality like a video game. I think once you can find that, you're doing the right industry, or you're doing the right passion, because if it can start feeling like a game to you and you start getting excited to get up after 2 hours of sleep and just start editing for 8 hours, or like you go fly halfway across the world and you sleep on the plane and then you DJ 4 shows in a row, like it becomes a game that way. Like it's fun. It's like you're making your life your own. It also helps recognition. For videography, photography, it's a lot like online, or like people coming up to you one-on-one being like, yo, like your photos from that last show was crazy. And DJing, it's a lot like right after you play, having that recognition from people being like, yo, great set, like that was awesome. Or like if you're direct support for a headliner, having them prop you, one of the biggest things you can get as far as like building that momentum and just keep building that snowball effect of like you wanting to keep doing it, and like it more feeling like a game. Like each time someone congratulates you, it's like unlocking achievement, and you're like, okay, I got 99 more to go, like let's go. But then even after that, like it's gonna be another 100 and another 100, because you're never satisfied. You always just keep making new goals. I think that's one of the hardest things about this isolation right now, is because all those goals, like all the goals I've been building up towards, like they're all on pause. And it's like, okay, it's like you're waiting for your game to update, like for like 2 hours, and you're like, oh, but this is like, yeah, who knows how long it's going to take to update. So we're all just kind of sitting now like, okay, like let's replay the tutorial, let's regain our skill, like let's build some new knowledge. Like thankfully me, like we said earlier, like I have, I do photography, video, DJ, produce, graphic design, entrepreneur, as far as like other little smaller businesses I have on the side. So I have a lot to do and a lot to like, oh, like I'm weak in this area, I might as well start building that up. Or like, oh, I haven't done this area for a while, so I might as well start doing that. So like for me, it's like, okay, I'm mixing every day, I'm producing again, doing graphic design for the few people who need it, but like I don't have a lot of like consistent work that I'm used to. Like I'm used to doing like, a video edit every 2 days, or like go shoot photos at a space somewhere, or shoot someone's music video. And like that stuff I'm not getting. So So it's definitely a change of pace, but I think as long as you can just like look at the big picture and it's like, okay, this is time to like rebuild my skills in these area or like learn new ones and just try and make yourself more rounded for what life can throw at you in the future. I think that's kind of what's important.
With doing all these different things, and obviously I think if I'm gauging you correctly, you like to do things but you don't do it half-assed. You kind of do it, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it full on.
Yeah, I'm a huge perfectionist. Yeah.
Do you ever feel stretched thin doing so many different things? Do you ever feel
No,
like
because I really try to focus on one at a time or like 2-3 at a time, and only when I know I can. Like I definitely will take on too many projects and then I'll delay me for some project, but as far as like the full picture of like being stretched too thin, I don't know, like I have so much creativity that I'm always wanting to do more. It's just a matter of like not having enough time to sleep. So
Fair
like
enough.
for me, it's like I get bored if I wasn't doing it all. If I wasn't stretching myself this thin, like I would get bored, or like not being able to control certain aspects of things. Because it's like when I want a project to be perfect, I can do all 5 things in that project and then it's perfect in my eyes, instead of like relying on someone else or having to revise it 100 times with someone else because you don't have that knowledge. So I think just being able to control every aspect, or like getting someone else to work on something and then being able to like, you know, go in and like edit it a bit instead of just asking them to revise it and not knowing how to explain that to them. You know, just having your hands in all the cookie jars that way, you kind of know what you just know like the technical aspects of each thing. So then that allows you to have more control over your end product for anything you're doing, like any side hustle, any little business, your own brand, your friend's brand. Like a lot of people just send me shit that they got made already and they're like, oh, like, can you make this better? You know, or it's like even me, like I'll go get something made and like, because I don't have the time, but then I'll like put a final edit on it or like make it just a little bit better in my eyes. And I think, you know, learning all those technical skills, and like right now is a great time to learn technical skills for other people. So I hope I really get that across. It just helps you. And like, it doesn't mean you have to go use Photoshop every day now for the next 3 years, but knowing Photoshop is so handy. Just to be able to go edit text on a layer, you know what I mean? Just like stuff like that. So I think, yeah, you can definitely get stretched too thin. Like they say, like master of none. The way I've done it is like, it's all towards the same goal.
All
so
aimed in the same direction.
Yeah, like every skill I've learned is all in the music industry and all towards the same skills, or towards the same skills.
The game talk coming through.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Like it's just, it can be. So like I understand the question, but and I have been over.
For sure.
Like if I could go back and like pick one to go really hard in, I don't think I would, just because you lose that sense of control. And like the more things I can do on a project, oversee and have control over, like the happier I am with the outcome of the project.
That's really cool, man.
Basically. But also on that note, if you really aren't good at graphic design and like you've tried it and like you've tried to learn certain skills and you just aren't good at them, like try to partner with people who are good at those things, because if you can find the partners who fill your gap, like you'll be a lot happier business wise or like brand wise. And like that's why I tell people, like, try to manage yourself, and then if you can't and like you hate that business side of things, like go find a manager. Like I've like, for the first time in my life, I've got my first business manager, who's Bhavya, and like just made my life so much easier in the last 3-4 months. So on that note, try to learn everything and try to like learn the technical base of everything. But obviously if that stuff doesn't give you that spark, then just move on and then figure out people who are really talented in that area. And that's how you kind of build your team and your clique.
For sure. And then, Hayden, one last question. Was there a moment for you where it was just like an aha moment where you're just like, you know what, this is like something just clicked and you knew that? I don't know what you started with, but
this is like a long one. I went over this a few times in like a few speeches I've done for universities, but basically like I was told I had cancer like 3.5 years ago in the hospital. They told me I had like I think it was stage 1 lymphoma or stage 3 or something. I don't know what the bad one is. It was like in the middle. And I was just in there for like 5 days, like freaking out. Before that, I took a gap year in university. I was doing 2 years of psychology. I've DJ'd since I was 12, but only as a hobby. And I was doing graphic design for clubs when I moved over here, just to get drinking money and just do that. And then my main job was selling alarms. And I just quit that company because I was hating my life trying to sell alarms to people door to door. And I was just kind of laying in that hospital bed being like, hey, like I haven't done anything I want to do. Like I love music. I love the music industry. Like how can I get into the music industry? And I think like in that like 5-6 days, it really like got that spark. and that like want of like the momentum, you know, that's what started the snowball effect for me. Yeah, it was like the wake up, was that spark, it was that snap of the fingers. And thankfully they told me, you know, it ended up being a false diagnosis. Some girl who's interning came in and was like, hey, like have they tested you for lymphoma, or like have they tested your lymphoma for mono? And I was like, no, I haven't had a mono test. So she did a mono swab, sent it into the lab, and 4 hours later she's like, actually you just have really severe mono. So I bed rested for 3 months, and in those 3 months I started my first company, which was Public Address, which hopped on right when Facebook started doing live streams. I learned how to make the live streams the best as far as audio and video quality, which now is coming into like a huge full circle, because I'm doing streams daily, you know, from home. But it's the same setup that I used to use for Public Address when Facebook Live came out. And this is before they had automatic copyright. So we were able to go live every week and highlight different artists from Vancouver. It helped me meet all the artists from Vancouver and just really like connected me into the scene. I had a few clients right away who I was featuring who wanted to hire me for video as well. Didn't own a webcam. I only owned webcams at the time, so didn't have a video camera, but it was that spark. It was that not saying no to any opportunity and just starting to get connected into this music scene. So I went out, bought $400 shitty camcorder, and just started filming my first edit, which I think was for Civs at MIA. And as you know, MIA is one of the darkest clubs in the city, so $400 camcorder isn't going to do anything there.
Rough.
But learning how to try save that footage using video editing program for the first time, like super special. I was like, wow, this is like Photoshop to music. Like to me, it was like click that way.
Yeah.
So then once that hit, I was like, okay, this is super cool. Went out, put myself into a bunch of debt, and went out and just bought the camera I wanted that I rented for like the next shoot, basically. But then I just went and bought it. Later, I was shooting Paradiso and then shooting Center of Gravity. That's where I met Connor, who's my current business partner for Social Sound. Yeah, it just really snowballed from there, like I said. But it's just that attitude of not wanting to say no to anything you know that could be a good opportunity. And it's like, I didn't know how to video edit. I didn't have a video camera, but I took that job. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of what it comes down to. It's like, if you want it enough, you will just say yes to every opportunity and learn in the time frame you have until that opportunity comes up.
I mean, I won't take too much more of your time, but thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course, man, anytime.
Alrighty, then up next is one of my favorite new artists. His name is AKSEL, and he does amazing, soulful, inspirational music. Again, I won't take up too much time. AKSEL, everyone.
So I think the most important thing for any young creator who's aspiring to create is to choose who you listen to when you're looking for creative feedback. I find that asking close friends or relatives might not be the best idea always, because they will sugarcoat it, and they would want to support you in that way that they don't want to be negative about it. So if you have an EP out that's not out yet, if you have an EP waiting to get released, send it off to people who you respect and that you feel would give you an honest opinion about your work. And also don't take yourself too serious. You know, I find whenever I want to create something serious, or I'm wanting to express something super important, take it with a grain of salt, because your ego can get really crushed if you fail miserably, which you will fail all the time, but take that with a grain of salt too. Just don't take stuff too serious. It'll ruin your mood, it'll ruin your art, it'll ruin everything about yourself and about your art. And also, like, to be persistent is probably the key element in anything, especially creatively speaking. If you're an entrepreneur, photographer, filmmaker, musician like myself, persistent, just be persistent. Try your hardest. If you fail, I've done a lot of gigs where I go up to the piano and I'm like, hey, I'm AKSEL Boss, okay, let's do this. And the first key I hit, like a G or something, I just, oh fuck man, I just want to go home. I don't want to do this. But what you need to do is just keep playing those notes. Try to improvise something. If you forget your lyrics, just go with it. If you fuck up on stage, just go with it. If your EP or song doesn't get a 12,000 view, or you don't get any more subscribers on your channel, just be persistent. Just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Don't look at Instagram too much. Don't crush your own spirit before it's halfway there, you know? Pat yourself on the back when you overcome a fear, or when you challenge yourself and you meet that challenge. Even though it might not look awesome to other people, but to you, it can mean the world. Try to look up to yourself, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say.
Damn, dude.
I don't know.
And swiftly up next is Connor JOANIS, also known by his stage name, Kedafir. Connor has done a whole bunch of amazing things, whether that's starting his promotion events company called Social Sound, playing in places like Europe, Asia, obviously North America. Everyone, Kedafir, Connor, JOANIS.
Go out and talk to people and be as personable as you can, because connections can get you farther than most other things can. Of course, like talent comes into play, but the most talented like producer or music person or anything involved with that could make the best music, but if they can't get out there, if they don't know how to promote their own music or get their music out to the world, then there's like no point of like doing it. Well, it's like there's still a point of doing it, but that's what I would suggest being the one thing that people focus on when they first get into it, is like meet a lot of people. Like, yes, make sure your skill is perfect, but if your skill's perfect and you have no gig, then what are you using the skill for?
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. And again, a quick thank you to everyone who participated. Jack Wilde, Hayden Gullings, also known as Gully, AKSEL Boss, Connor JOANIS, also known as Kedafir. You guys have given us so much amazing pieces of information, and I'm going to give my own little 2 cents here at the end. And for me, it's going to be like what Jack said, is just believe in yourself, and regardless of what you're making, there's a path. Everyone has different paths, and don't compare yourself to other people. Think of your journey as this solitary journey, just like in The Hobbit, where Bilbo has to do the journey. He has to do it. He has to do it by himself, and also with other people. But at the end, it's only by himself. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and thank you for everyone who participated, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great week. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.